No.
or any badminton either.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. Sam Magee in particular has to be careful.
Yeah.
No betting allowed from that.
Yeah.
Can't give any insight.
Yeah. There was a.
Yes, you can't give tips either.
Oh, that's true. I never thought about that. Yeah, that's yeah. No, there was some. I don't follow the horses, but there was some big news about 2 days ago. A horse called Dylan, my son's called Dylan. He was 150 to 1 and won a big race, and the guy never raced the horse before. He just came out, and I kind of thought, wow, imagine if you put a tenner on that. That would have been okay. But I guess people who put big money on, they lose big money too. So it's one of those things. But yeah. So where were we, Mark?
Yeah, I was just going back at some great points being made by everybody. One point that I always think is, I've always tried to develop anyway, is I've got this notion of trust your partner. I've played with so many people who, I know they don't trust me. I was certainly in my early days. They always play the shuttle, so the shuttle comes back to them.
Yeah.
And I do the exact opposite. I always play the shuttle. I always think doubles is, if you can get each player playing one shot, then the next shot, it's quite good. Rather than having one player on the team hit 6, 7, 8 in a row. So I always try to, when somebody hits the shuttle, place the shuttle back in the opposition's court where it's likely that my partner can get in and attack or take the next shot. So trust your partner is a big one for me.
And Mark, just to personalise it, because you won't ask yourself the question, you had a couple of good men's doubles partners, Bruce Topping, who's done a great podcast as well, and that's going to air in the summer. Would he have been your best partner, your most trusted partner?
It's a very difficult question to answer because I had some very good partners.
Yeah, there you go now, Mark. No, that's.
I think I'll pass on that question.
Because they'll be listening into your answer here. Is Graham Henderson is another one of your partners?
Yeah. Well, I want to follow what Mark just said about trusting your partner.
Yeah.
I've heard one really special extreme case here in Hong Kong is that there were a couple, boyfriend and girlfriend, they played doubles. But then eventually they broke up because they didn't do doubles. And because I don't really know why, but what I heard was they were broken up because of that double match. But I think it has been a long time that they didn't have enough trust on themselves. Like if you're playing against a stronger opponent, like how do you perform, like sharing the shots, like Mark said, giving your partner have one shot to go, like to hit up to the opposite side, to let your partner get the attack side. Like there are tactics to go, but just they didn't get the chance to work on that.
It's funny, Mark, for the average club player, which I think, Mark, you've used that word in the question. Like when I played more singles, and I always liked the singles for the workout. But in the doubles, when I probably slightly preferred mixed doubles if I had a good mixed partner. But in the time I played, the lady was always to be up at the net. You go up at the net, I'll stay at the back and do the running, and that's how we played club stuff. And of course, I've said this to Sophia, and she said, "Christ, that's very unfair. You couldn't have done that." I said, "That's the way we did it in the clubs. They'd stay there. They wouldn't really move." And I know, Ray, you probably maybe remember back in your day in club play, maybe that's the way it was in England as well. That the man was very dominant at the back. And perhaps when you got to the last level, the premier level or the senior one, or as you got there, maybe the lady was more obviously involved. But it's a war zone for a woman when you think about it. In at that net all the time, if it's lifted to the guy. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've got thoughts on it, and look, you've got Sam Magee there who plays with Chloe, and they'll have developed a system where they play for each other, and it's up to the guy to play the woman in, and it's up to the woman to play the man in. So if she's getting the lift, he should be attacking in the right areas and really making her look good, because she's going to get the net kills. But it's all easier said than done. But I'm going to say this. I was so lucky in my badminton career. We had so many strong women. Some of the best in the world. Nora Perry, Gillian Gill, people like this.
Wow.
Could win world titles, and they would command the net. And it is so important the woman commands the net. Good serving, good receiving, and plays the intelligent shots. And it makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so when you don't have a good mixed partner, you certainly know about it. That's for sure. Yeah. And Sam, did you always play with Chloe in mixed? Did you ever have any other mixed partner before Chloe? Can you remember, like
No,
back
not
in
really.
back in club level when you were coming through? Before you kind of no.
In club level, yeah, in Donegal, you play with everyone. Like you don't really have a fixed partner, and I've always played with Chloe at the senior level. Underage, not really. Just you kind of play with whoever at that age. I've had lucky to play with some other players in German league. I played with a girl, Carla Nelta, a German girl. And it's funny when you play with someone with a different style. Chloe's very controlled around the net, where this girl was like more, say, like a Gail M type, just a real killer. If she got the chance, she needed one shuttle and she got it in the ground.
Right.
Not as good maybe as playing on the net, as technical, but yeah, it's different when you play with different people. I think it's an interesting debate. A good partnership is so crucial, and there's also, you can get really good players that can probably play with anyone. As Mark was saying, you can get a player that can just keep the shuttle to himself, at a really top level, and they could probably flip with anyone. But you see it so often, I know maybe looking at Carson Moguson, he changed with Bo, and he's not winning an Irish Open, where before he's cleaning up all England, China Open. I know he's getting older, but it just shows you the difference that a good partnership can make.
Yes.
Also, you can sometimes get good individuals that can just change a partnership and go back to the top of the world. So it's a very interesting debate. I think you can give so many examples from both sides of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I think is incredibly important is, for me, the front court player in doubles or mixed, I call them the leader of the team. Whoever's at the front of the court is the leader, as far as I'm concerned. And with that responsibility, with that power, comes that responsibility to be incredibly decisive at the front of the court. Because if I'm at the back of the court and I'm playing with Sam, and I'm at the back of the court and I can see Sam backing away early on as I'm about to hit, that decisiveness tells me, Sam is telling me, he's the leader, I've got to get in to the net for the next one. We're doing a rotation on this one. So I think it's crucial that the front court player is decisive in everything they do. Whether they're right or wrong, just commit to a decision and stick with it and help your back player out a lot.
Well, I just pop up on my mind about if you have noticed, the top players from Japan, Watanabe and Higashino, and then their style is kind of different. You can see the Watanabe, the youngster, he just rushed to the net and had great control. And Higashino, the woman, has really strong jump smash. As Ray said before, like there were times that there were stronger women coming onto the net, but right now I could see there's a big change on the double side. So what do you guys think about the style of doubles? The changing? The trend goes to like women having strong ability to go to the back and attack as well. Like boys and girls shares similar ability, so they could be tougher.
There's certainly a superb level, and if you look at the Asian style, I think in the top 40 in the world now, there's about 60 European pairs, and that's all. So they're playing fantastic mixed, and the women are so solid and play the game so well. They're not a weakness at all. I think the men certainly have the power and the smashes, etc. But the women, their consistency and their defence is absolutely fantastic. I want to make one other point. I've watched a little bit of Sam and Chloe, and what really impresses me about them is how there's 100% effort, and the word trust has been there, but 100% effort, both backing each other up, and I think that's so important.
I'll just say about actually a good one you brought up was Watanabe, Jack. It's one of the players we've had a little bit of success. One of the top players that we beat them in Glasgow, and we played 3 sets with them in Malaysia, and then we lost them somewhere else in Asia as well. But when you play against them, it's more so just how quick they are. They're just quick on everything. The girl's powerful, the guy's powerful. In terms of like really tactically being really hard, you play against some world class players, and they're just tactically so good that they, you find it hard to play against. But with the Japanese, it's just pure speed. They speed and consistency all the time. And if you rise that level and you can play a little bit more control, they can struggle. But if you can't match their speed, and I think that's what you're saying, is that the games become so physical and so quick that I think that's just the way it's going now. And for the European players, it's harder to implement this control style of blocking and block defense, because the girls and the guys are, the speed's just coming up, the physicality's coming up. But I think that's the way top doubles is going.
And when you say speed, Sam, just are you mean speed in reactions or twitch speed on the court? I was trying to decide to myself there which is more important, to be physically more powerful or to be faster reaction and speed. I know they're both important. Which one? Which speed? You saying the speed of just reaction, just to have that reaction speed?
Yeah, it's also with the reaction, but it's the speed of they're so quick on the shuttle that shuttle is coming back across your side of the net so
Right.
quick, and if the quality of you're giving them is not good enough, the guy is there and the girl is there, they're in your face, and they're just constantly doing this over and over and over again. Of course, they're finding the gaps, but if you play maybe Chris and Gabby from England, like they will be tactically placing the gaps, nearly all the time, as well as bringing speed and power. But the Japanese are becoming maybe 90% more power, and then they're still finding the gaps because they're obviously top players. But it's just this pure speed of being explosive from the guy, and if the quality's not good enough, they're both so early on it, so they're just more in your face all the time. It's not that they're beating you by being incredibly smart. It's just pure power and speed. And if your reactions, your concentration, and you can't match that speed, then you're going to have a very hard day against them.
And how
Magee and mix come up against each other?
Yeah, and Sam, how does like all players, how do you train for that level of speed? How do you get how can you raise your game to already a substantially good game? I'm just talking in general, to maybe the players who are in, let's say, the 50 to 100 mixed in the world, to getting to into the top 50 more and top 20. How I mean, what training techniques are they doing that maybe the Europeans aren't capitalizing? Are there any or is there some technology reaction stuff they're doing at a younger age, like the light stuff you often see on the courts? Or I always remember Mark bringing out the black bag over the net and doing the feeds and getting the muscles. I do that a bit on the singles drill with, say, Dylan in particular. We just throw it and he doesn't see where the shuttle's coming and he's trying to react. Those are there any little, as Mark is saying, tips we could capture at that work on that speed? Because that's a big theme to come out of this. If you don't have that speed and if you're not working on your speed, all the other elements aren't going to be enough to get you, maybe over the line.
I think it's the one big thing that I would say. It's not just pure about speed. Of course, there's many elements to the game, but I think if you're world number one and you're playing against world number two every day, the quality of your game is going to come up. I'm sure Ray probably knows from coming through England, probably at that, even now they still have a high level, and you're playing against good players every day.
Yeah.
I think you automatically get a quicker racket, a quicker mind, and the shuttle's coming back with more pressure.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge challenge, and I think bands in Europe are trying to do certain things where the best players from each country at tournaments play against each other, and I think that will help Europe come back a little bit. But the Japanese, if you look at their men's doubles, the two pairs in the final, they'll go back to Japan and train together. So I think it comes to a certain level where training and speed and tactics and the quality of your training is huge. But then for that next level, I do believe it's who you playing against, how good is your speed day in, day out, and your quality. Are you getting punished from your mistakes in training? I think that's such a huge factor,
right.
And it's important for every country to try and develop their actual level in the training to try and compete in the big competitions. But I'm interested to hear everyone else's ideas on why the Asians are dominating.
Yeah, Jack, have you any observations?
Can I just say?
Yeah, sorry, Ray. Go ahead.
That's gold dust that Sam's just said. That's gold dust. It's the essence of the top class play is your daily training. He's talked about being early on the shuttle. I'm getting exactly every word he's saying, where he's coming from. I spoke with Morton Frost recently, and I said to him, what's the difference between that level player, and it was the top young Indian boy, Lakkashen, I think his name is, and I said, one of the world-class players, and he said, location, location, location.
Golly.
It's all about where you are on the court, when you've hit and your next move, and that's exactly what Sam's just said. That's gold dust, what he's just said.
Brilliant, Ray. Yeah. I mean, Jack, do you observe anything in the training with the Hong Kong Academy, particularly to do with the doubles? Anything that is, works that speed aspect or any other aspect that mightn't be as used in training. I mean, it's hard sometimes to get into these places to see the training. Everything is kept quiet, and cameras tend to disappear a little bit, as you can understand. Nobody wants to share truths, but I observed when I was there myself with you, with the kids for a week in there, like it was an incredible arena, and just seeing them, my observations, which was more on the general game, was, doing a 4-hour session wasn't unusual. And during that they'd go off into the gym, come back out on court. I never seen a box of shuttles as big in all my life, about 4 times the size of what I'd see over here, and that's no disrespect to here. It's just there was never an opportunity to waste time on court, so there was always enough shuttles if you think about picking and collecting and doing that. So maximizing the training time on court, and even Mark and myself talked about that here. If you have a picker and a collector and someone else feeding and doing, you're maxing the amount of training shuttles that can be hit in the hour. And you often look at a lot of one-person coaches, they can only hit so many shuttles in an hour because they're picking up. So you have that system, you're probably putting in four hours in one. And it's just, small little tips like that to clubs around the country, getting small little disciplines in place. But anything else maybe that you've seen in the training camp, Jack?
Well, I should bring up a few points to follow your points you mentioned, John. I remember I shipped you the sweeper, like the metal thing.
Yeah, I use that all the time. I use it all the time. Yep.
The thing we have in Hong Kong are mostly made by soft woods and plastics, not as hard as the one you have. Only only I have it, and some of my close friends have it. You have it.
Yeah, it's like
And
it's like a foldable ruler, Sam and
for
Ray,
sure,
and it just rolls out, and you click. It's a light metal, and you scoop all the shuttles up really quick, and it gets rid of all the dust, so you don't kind of really the dust kind of doesn't come there. So when you're packing them up, it's brilliant. I use it every time. It's always used when I'm on the court.
I would say I like to like if I have a chance to get more, I probably would bring 2 or 3 to them as gifts for the Irish team. But
Brilliant.
anyways, uh, yeah, about that. Where was I? Oh,
Yeah, you
about
were
the
just
training.
a couple of things, tips maybe
Uh,
on what you might
oh
have
yes, I want to
observed.
bring up about some points we do in Hong Kong is about we rush the track and field. So a basic track and field, it has a 400-meter lap. So our players will mostly do a rush, not just a run, not just run. We time it. We time it, not just one lap, probably a few laps. We time it and see if we meet the time. If not, we're gonna do that again to train the explosion. And then for consistency, we do like 3,000 meters once. And our training system has a morning session and an afternoon section, which the morning session has 3 hours, mostly for skills training, shuttle trainings, and the other 3 hours in the afternoon are fitness. So in between, we have lunchtime and some resting time for the players to take a nap or whatever they wanted to do, but mostly getting rest. And for the last 3 hours in the afternoon, they mostly do fitness, recover the therapies, something like that. And for agility trainings for the explosions with double players, I would say that there's one just popping out of my mind. Just, you can stand with one foot and you just launch a little bit, and what the other person in front of you is about to throw a tennis ball. So once the tennis ball bounces onto the floor, and then you put the other foot down and try to rush to get it, and then you throw back to the other person who threw you the shuttle. Do that again. It trains the leg muscles as well. This is what just popped up on my mind.
Excellent, brilliant, very simple, really good. There's a really good tip, Mark, for all clubs on that agility training. I know. I think I've seen in our Sophia's fed back at times. The players try to push each other's over on one foot, and they've kind of got to balance themselves. And that that balance is fantastic. Just to to stay upright. When you started talking about the 3,000 meters, I just thinking of Ray again on his podcast. My God, I think it was Michael O'Mara, and he might be listening to this. He says, no wonder everybody ended up with Banjak's knees. That amount of training that you did in those days, Ray, was just unbelievable. I mean, I'm not saying Sam and the current guys don't train as well, but I mean, you did everything and anything. Feels, you know, concrete. You were just animal. I mean, it paid off at the top level, but it was just it was mind blowing. Still is mind blowing. Um, I think if you kind of said to some of the juniors, the type of physical training, that they wouldn't believe that, and the new score system in many ways, they get away with in some way not been as long-term conditioned over a competition where when you had to just win the point to control the serve to win the point. It was just different. But and now they might change the score again.
So,
Since we're unscripted, I'll join that into the conversation. Mark, is that okay? Back to 11. Sam, what do you think of that?
I think we've been lucky. We've been playing in German league for the last 4 years. I think it has to go that way. For certain reasons, I think games are getting longer and longer. It's getting physically hard, and I think you kind of tune out. Even if you're watching a really good game, sometimes you can tune out. I think it will help ladies doubles a lot because it's become the Asian pairs are really, the Japanese ladies doubles, Koreans. They've made it like a war of attrition, just break each other down over an hour, and then see who wins that last 20 minutes over the hour. Like the real top ladies doubles now it's really really hard physically. It will take away some elements. I think some people might disagree. Some of the top players won't like it. But I noticed in German league, it doesn't really affect the results. You think, okay, 5 to 11 makes it easier for the the underdog. I haven't seen too many shock results where someone completely beats someone that you wouldn't expect them to. But I like it. I think there's downsides to it as well. You know, if you go 6-1 down after a bad start, you're kind of out of it. You're out of that set, and you might see some people starting to throw, you know, small sets like that once you go 8-1 down, or so it's kind of dead in that way. But if you get these 6-all points, 7-all, 8-all, I think that's probably what BWF are looking for, and it's going to try and make it more mainstream for TV. But I'm very interested to hear all you guys' opinions, and of course, you know, we'll see a lot of badminton players. I think some people try and protect themselves. You know, if I'm winning now in 21, maybe I want to change it. And you'll see other players that are probably thinking, okay, that might suit my attacking game better. Let's get the 11s in. But it's an interesting time. You know, they've changed scoring before, and some people have been happy and some people haven't. But BWF seem to be adamant they're going to get their way this time.
So it's quite a. I mean, when Ander Anderson posted out on his social media, what you know, which one are you in favor on? I couldn't believe the response. It was massive. I mean, the number of opinions, and the opinions seemed to be quite divided. Sam, there was a lot of people, you know, it was a little. I mean, I didn't add them all up but I looked and I noticed some saying, oh no, we have it perfectly now, there's no need to mess it up again. Others said, let's go back to what we originally had. I think that's obviously fewer, and then others kind of liked it. But then there's a few comments saying maybe have some adjustment. If you get to 9-all or something, you have the option to extend by a few more points and be a little creative there for you know, allowing a little bit of extra where you might have a tight match, and it might favor the audience. So maybe there's a little piece that's not fully there in what they're suggesting that just might make that, you know, decisive. But I don't know. I don't know what the opinions are. Ray, what is your opinion? You
Well, I'm very interested to hear Sam talk there, because I think there needs to be a real cross section of top players, which Sam's one of them. I hate it. 5 to 11, don't want to see it. 3 to 21, I think the game is brilliant. And if you look at the top class games that people think of, Okhara versus Sindhu in Glasgow, 2-hour game, that's the one they'll always talk about, or the classics of Lee Chong-wei versus Lin Dan. But Sam talked very logically, and he talked very well on it. I'm not playing the game now, so I want the players to play the game that they want.
Right. Yeah. The majority. So majority rules at the end, Ray. Yeah. That's what you're saying across the spectrum.
I know. I've just lost you guys. I don't know why.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I put a post up that I was very for the 3 to 21 to stay as it was, and that they should maintain that scoring system. And I got about 50 people log on straight away supporting it.
Wow, that was quick, wasn't it? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was really quick. And and I said, look, tennis hasn't had to mess with its scoring system to attract the people. We shouldn't have to mess with ours. But mine's just an opinion.
Yeah, no, you're saying.
I really appreciate what Sam said, but I really hope they do take a large cross section of players. Look, when they were first brought in the 21 scoring system, people weren't happy about it, and the game's developed, and it's got to a rallying style. It wasn't a rallying style at the first. It was very much all-out attacking style, and I've seen 5-7, I've seen 5-11, 5-9. I've seen all the scoring systems. I think we've got a pretty good scoring system at the moment.
Okay. Be interested to hear what Jack thinks on that. From your neck of the woods, what's the rumblings in the jungle? Or are there rumblings in the jungle?
Personally, I would think that the current scoring system is really nice. The players have the time to change to perform themselves as long as they are enjoying the game, other than just wanted to win the match. Like I know they wanted to, but just the sense of it is to enjoy it. But if you change it to 11.5 games, it's not that bad. But just if you think of it in a positive way, the games has to evolve. Evolve. So like the 21 scoring system has giving the player a chance to play consistency games. But when you get to 11 points, you go attack and attack and attack.
Mm-hmm.
So once these things go all over, well, as an audience, I would think that, well, why is that so like simple? I've watched this from players to players all the time, the same things to learn. That I don't think people would like that.
Well, ultimately, the objective, if I'm right, Sam, it's they want to bring this in to speed up the time of the matches. Isn't that the ultimate objective? Like, they moved from the previous in raise time score system to the one that we currently have, so that you remember being in parish halls playing league matches till 2 a.m, and I remember that, and it was crazy stuff. And you think about it, was great in another way because we love badminton, but so this new scoring system was great. But is the objective, or is it like, do they want to create more atmosphere? Do they want to create more memories? Like, I thinking of Victor Axelsen and that 30-29 game that happened there in the All England recently. It's a great memory. I hope I got the right event. I think it was the All England in the final. Yeah, and it was just brilliant watching. We're almost saying let's see the same again in the next set. But so you're right, Ray. You do remember these occasions, but Sam, is that the main? Is that why the topic is on the AGM of the BWF to try to promote the game better? Is that the objective ultimately?
I think they want more of these peak moments. I can see where they're coming from. If you're in a hall watching 4 courts and you see a match at 7-all, and you see another match coming up 14-all, you're going to tune into the 14-all or the 16-all more than you're going to watch this match. I think they want these peak moments. But there's a few of these issues now that have started to creep up. I think Anderson was playing Victor Axelsen in Thailand, and he wins the first set, but then he throws the second set by saving energy. And I think they're trying to take that out of the game as well. I'm sure there's many reasons, but I think the big one is they want these peak moments. They want more of these like 7-alls where 1 point means so much more at 7-all if you're playing to 11 than it does if you're playing to 21. So they're all thinking about the viewers, and they want more people to watch, more critical moments, try and sell it like these bigger sports. So that's just one perspective. I don't think it's bringing in the players' perspective. So I think BWF and the players will probably have different ideas, but their main idea is to try and sell the sport more critical moments and all these sorts of things.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to hear people's opinion on what Anderson did, and of course not just him, but top players. They're selling a set, or if a doubles player goes 9 or 16-6 down, they're just kind of play it out, break the rhythm. I think it's something that BWF are looking to stamp out because they've had issues in the past with the Olympics, players throwing matches and different things. So it's interesting to see what people think on that. Is it the right thing to do, wrong thing to do?
Well, we have another 4.5 minutes here because when the meter runs, and we have to thank everyone. I mean, we're not going to get and grab another bit of time. It's been absolutely brilliant here. I was going to so I'll give you another tick in about a minute countdown. But I was just going to, when you said that, Sam, I was going to just throw the limelight to Mark for a second with the BPL. This is the Badminton Premier League in Ireland that takes place and has been a great success. And the score system is to 11. and they have this pink shuttle which option which you can choose. I think every player has the option to choose it. I might get this now slightly wrong, twice or something in a game or something like that. And if you win on the pink shuttle, you get 2 points. So it's like it's a little, you hold it for maybe the right tactical time, and it's brilliant. That for atmosphere as a spectator, Mark, as a player, what do you think yourself?
Yeah, yeah. We, as John's saying, we've been doing this in the Badminton Premier League in Dublin for 4 or 5 years. So all the top players in Ireland come together, apart from the professional players, Sam and Chloe, obviously, going off to international tournaments, but the next level down. And one thing I will say, it is bringing crowds in. It's the 3 to 21 we can play and nobody turns up. But we get a crowd of 100 people coming in, and it's absolutely fabulous to play in front of a crowd, for our level anyway, and for the sort of youngsters coming up. Sophia obviously plays in my team, the South Dublin Spartans, and it's been a great experience for her to play in that.
Mark's always scouting the players. You can see that. Always gets them young, you know. Yeah, but
there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to everything. I'm probably leaning slightly in favour of this new innovation. I do like the 3 to 21. I have no objection to it at all. But yeah, I do think there'll be more excitement. I think they should bring in what we call it in the BPL a power play shuttle. So I think they should bring in, you have one chance every set, and you can claim it, and you can score 2 points. So the score can be 8-9, and I can claim it. And if our team wins it, we go 10-9 ahead. It's very tactical. It's very interesting. It brings the crowds in, and then they make a big in the BPL in Dublin. They make a big thing of it on the screens, flashing lights. It's all about entertainment. I think we're in the entertainment business, badminton at the top level, and I think you need to entertain your crowd.
And we have about 1 minute and 20 seconds just to say, and when we disappear, by the way, thanks Ray, thanks Sam, and thanks Jack. It's been great. We'll be posting this out next Wednesday, the first of the video, and the second one will be the following week, just to let you know. So I wanted to say that my only quick reply back to Sam was, I didn't like what Anderson did throwing the set. I was disgusted with it, full stop. He should have been carded. I'm sorry. So if he did that on a shorter score system, it wouldn't have looked as bad. That's the only point I wanted to add for that. So didn't like it at all. Jack, anyone final comments? And we will all disappear. As I've said, it's been terrific. So we kind of have Mark in favour, maybe Sam, Ray not. Not sure about Jack. Are you in favour or not, Jack? A yes or no? A yes or no in 10 seconds?
Nah.
Okay, so we're divided. I'll say, maybe for the fans. I think maybe for the fans. Yeah. And I think the pink is a great idea. By the way, Mark, that's my contribution. Okay, listen, we'll say thanks to everyone because we're going to disappear.
Yeah, guys, absolutely brilliant. Great night. And
thank you very
chat
much.
again.
Yeah. Okay.
Take
Best
care.
of luck, Sam. Okay. See you again, Ray. Okay.
Good luck in the Olympics.
Cheers, Ray. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be clapping. We'll be shouting over the internet.